Welcome back, guys. This is Gaming with Austin. Of episode 50. And we're rolling. We're gonna try to finish off building the ceiling of the ground floor. Today is a day when the wolves die young. One thing I should have said yesterday in my previous video that I didn't get to say is that Apple will be releasing new devices very soon. In about a week, Nvidia's graphics cards, the RTX 2080 and 2080 Ti, will be released in about a week. If I had one of those beefy gaming rigs like that, I'd pair it with a 32-core CPU. Because I'm gonna push the performance to the limit. Eventually, we're going to see CPUs break the 5 GHz barrier at stock speeds. But as of right now, we have it at overclocked speed, at turbo boost right now. At the highest. Which means that ultimately, you'd have to tune things up to break the 5 GHz barrier. Once we reach 5 GHz stock speed, our goal would be to try to break the 6 GHz. Then the 7 GHz. Then we'll reach the double digits when it goes to gigahertz. Because right now, compare that, back in 2009, a low-end gaming rig usually had around 4 to 8 gigabytes of RAM. Around 4 gigabytes of RAM. But now, you could get a low-end gaming rig with 8 gigabytes of RAM. Eventually, you'd have to go for 16 gigs of RAM. Then 32, then 64. It exponentially increases, multiply that by 2. Eventually, some computers have 12 gigabytes of RAM. Some have 6. Back in the Windows 8, Windows 7 era, it was not uncommon to see computers with 3 gigabytes of RAM. The same thing with Windows Vista. That operating system that was released almost 12 years ago, it was a flop. It was shit compared to Windows 8. That operating system was shit. Compared to Windows 8. Windows 8 was also bad, but not as shitty as Vista. But Windows 10 was a whole lot better. Microsoft got to bring balance this time. Three, four, five. Windows Vista was shit. Windows 7 was pretty good. Same with Windows XP. Now Windows 10 is much more widely used compared to Windows 7 today. Windows 10. Most computers do have that operating system now. Most computers that run Windows have that operating system. Eventually, even more computers will run Windows 10. And eventually, people would have to... People who are still running... Businesses are still running Windows 7, they're going to have to pay for security updates. Unfortunately. Which is why some businesses are going towards Windows 10. So they could avoid those extra costs. I know it's a little more expensive on paper, but in the long run, you'll save more. Over the course of a couple years. Sort of like microtransactions in video games. Those might have to stop. One of those reasons is because, for one, companies could rip you off just for getting the stuff you need to progress further into the game. We don't want that. But with Minecraft, it's a different story. Make what you want when you want. Everything's fine. Today is a... like this community I'm making. In Minecraft. It's almost done. Community's almost finished. But I'm still working on... the ground floor of the farm is almost finished. All it needs is a bit of lighting. It has lighting, but not enough to satisfy the needs of the plants. Because, you know, plants need light, hence the name photosynthesis. Hence the name photosynthesis. Hence the name photosynthesis, plants need light to process the CO2 into oxygen and glucose. Plants need oxygen. No. Plants need CO2 so they could produce oxygen. Plants cannot survive without CO2. When we colonize planets, sometime in the not so far future, like Mars 2020, we'll be building communities like this. But like the free range, this one, it would be in a dome. It would be sealed in a dome. Similar to the, when the city of Springfield was sealed in a dome in the Simpsons movie. One thing I've heard is that there are 3 new iPhones coming out soon. The iPhone 10, the iPhone 10 Max, iPhone 10s, 10s Max, and the 10R. It's similar to the... basically like an iPhone 5C on steroids. Yet the problem is, they're all expensive as shit. Especially the 10s Max. That phone is expensive as shit. And as the bezels on smartphones get thinner, the notch would become more prominent. You're probably going to start seeing the notch as bezels get thinner. Some companies have solved the problem of the screen notch by hiding a camera under the screen, which the camera moves when you go to take a selfie. That is a truly screenless phone. No, that is a truly bezel-less phone. That is all screen. Truly bezel-less, meaning there are no bezels. Almost no bezels. Just like with laptops, bezels are getting thinner and thinner. An example of that is the Dell XPS. Asus decided to cram a 17-inch laptop in a 15-inch form factor. Acer and lots of companies decide to cram a 15-inch laptop into a 14-inch form factor. As bezels get thinner, eventually we'd have to find strategic ways to place the camera. We need to find a way to place a camera without putting the notch on the screen. Because no one would like a notch on their laptop display. No. None of us would like that. Unfortunately, they did not announce the new iPad Pro lineup. Probably going to do it in a future announcement. With Microsoft, they're going to announce new Surface. They're probably going to announce new Surface products later this month, or maybe in October. Later in October. Like later in October, Microsoft's going to announce new Surface products. They already have the Surface Go, which is a successor to the Surface 3. And unlike the Surface 3, it has an actual Intel Core processor instead of those painfully slow Intel Atom processors. Which is why I went from a Pentium J3710 to a G5600. Because of better performance. Because true CPU, Intel Core CPU cores are much faster than Atom cores. Which is pretty good. I noticed one thing. The signs that this farm didn't have enough lighting was plant started harvesting themselves. Today is the day when the wolves die young. And eventually, wolves die young. It would be lit enough for plants to grow without a problem. Oops. Eventually, it would be lit well enough to where plants can grow without a problem. Rain or shine. Oops. Rain or shine. The plants can grow without a problem. Which means that if everything goes out well in the once plants get harvested, there'd be enough to satisfy everybody's needs. And more light, so there will be enough light for all the plants. So the light could be more distributed. Which means plants can grow under optimal condition. properly. The truth is, with the creepers in Minecraft, they were born from a coding bug. Creepers, contrary to what the creepers do in Annoying Orange, they don't eat people alive. Instead, they go boom. They make big boom boom. Just like Kim Jong-un when he goes to launch his nukes. After taking a break from not pooping. Which is actually... The truth is, Kim Jong-un does poop like everybody else. His father did indeed take a dump in his lifetime before. The North Korea thing is parodied in the movie called The Interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco. Where they do up-close talks with Kim Fatty Fat. Who was played by Randall Park. If that was real Kim Jong-un, he'd get pretty pissed. He'd get pretty pissed if that was real. He got pretty pissed when that... by that movie. He got pretty pissed by that movie. So he decided to do a cyber attack on Sony Pictures to cancel the release of The Interview. But despite that, the movie still got released. Despite that. Makes fun of Kim Jong-un's cult of personality. And tricks people into believing everything he says. Through indoctrination and brainwash, also known as brainwashing. With the brainwashing of North Koreans, they don't know what life is like outside of North Korea as a result of their indoctrination. As a result of their indoctrination, they don't know what... they think North Korea is the best place on Earth, when in fact, it's anything but a good place to live. In fact, to prove that, there are North Korean defectors living all over the place. All over the map. Most of them are in South Korea. Some of them are in Europe. Some of them are actually in America as well. How do we learn about the prison camps, the gulags of North Korea? Testimony from defectors. Testimony from the defectors from North Korea. Like, they had to risk their lives to... those who survive live to tell the tale of what really goes on in North Korea. They give us the truth of what really goes on. Living conditions in North Korea is like that of Nazi Germany. Today. Especially in the ghettos of Nazi Germany. Similar to the Warsaw Ghetto. The story... There was a Polish woman who smuggled Jews out the Warsaw Ghetto to freedom. She had to risk everything to do so. Even violence from the Nazis to do so. Yet they still ended up escaping. Because of her. A lot of the children ended up in foster homes after the war. She found out most of their parents were gassed, unfortunately. No one deserves to get gassed in the gas chambers disguised as shower rooms. How are people sent to the gas chambers? A lot of times in the prison camps of Nazi Germany, they were lured into them. They tricked them into thinking they were going to take a shower when in fact they were going to get gassed. But in fact, they went there to get gassed. It's one of the worst things Hitler has done. Along with starving people into prison camps and into ghettos. And outside Germany, too. When he decided to steal land from Africa. Which was pretty wrong. He wanted to create a massive empire that spanned an entire planet. Good thing that empire like that didn't happen. If it did happen, it'd be Wolfenstein. It'll be like Wolfenstein in real life. It would be Wolfenstein in real life. If you haven't played the game Wolfenstein, check it out. Eventually, today is a day when the wolves die young. Oops. And Nazi Germany was totalitarian. Stalinist Russia was authoritarian. Stalinist Russia, on the other hand, was authoritarian. And after Stalin's death, Russia went back to being an oligarchy. Ruled by a handful of people. And totalitarian capitalism is what fascism is. What fascism is. Basically, the dictator has total control of everybody's salaries. The dictator decides who gets to live in the capital. One of the worst things, one of the most evil people in history was Adolf Hitler. He killed millions. Probably, the Holocaust led to 50 million deaths. What I define the Holocaust is the genocide that occurred through Hitler's reign of terror. Hitler did some good things too, even though he was really evil. One of those things he did was animal rights. Was related to animal rights. Which meant he learned about extreme cruelty to animals too. But you know, that's one of the only good deeds Hitler did. Even though he was really evil. But Osama bin Laden, he's pure evil. He's nothing but pure evil. He is a fascist, just like Hitler. This is it for this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you liked this video, dislike if you disliked it, subs if you loved it. Share this with your friends to help my channel grow. Bell icon for more videos. And as always, thank you for watching, and peace out.